I'm back for another flight test. This is the FMS Pitts biplane version 2. So this is a very famous biplane designed by Curtis Pitts. If you know anything about aviation, then you will have heard of the Pitts biplane. I actually know of one that flies out of my local airfield that I've seen flying stunts and aerobatics around the local area. So it's going to be a lot of fun to try and emulate that with this. So this is 1400 millimeters wingspan, pretty big. It comes plug and play format, so motor, speed controller and servos are already going to be in place. As with all FMS models, it just blows me away that there's never much to do to assemble one of these. They literally screw together very quickly, leaving you just with the task of dropping in your receiver, programming that up and then charging up a 6-cell battery. So let's not hang around, let's take the components out of the box, let's see what we get. So all the components out of the box, they were very well wrapped, I have to say, in the 2-layer polystyrene box. Yeah, took me a little bit to get it out, but it's so well protected, there's no way it's going to get damaged in transit to your door. So let's look at this. I'm just amazed how few components there are on something this big. So we have here the canopy, if I can take it off with one hand while I'm holding the camera. Yes, just. So a nice pilot in there, nice clear cockpit canopy. It slides in at the front, and then you've got the latch at the back to hold it in place. And obviously we've got the motor and the speed controller already in there. You can see the Velcro straps on that tray to hold our 6-cell pack. Then of course we've got the Reflex version 2 gyro stabilization system. Comes with all FMS planes now. Really like it, especially in optimized mode, so it irons out all the turbulence that you might get from wind if you're out flying on what I will be an autumn day, hopefully tomorrow. That isn't the connector I use on my LiPo, so I will have to change that for a XT90. I think that's what they call an EC5, but that's easily changed. Yeah, just so much space in there, isn't there? Huge. Really nice bright red scheme. Then we've got all the other, everything else just bolts onto the fuselage. So we've got the vertical stabilizer and rudder. We've got the horizontal stabilizer and elevators there. We've got the wings, 4 parts. We've got some, I think you call them cabans or struts between the top and bottom wing. Then we've got the landing gear. We've got a couple of wing joiners, and that is pretty much it. So I'm going to be dropping in an FR Sky X8R receiver and setting it up on my Radiomaster TX16S. Shouldn't take too long to do. So got the manual. I mean, I don't think you probably need the manual except for the CG, but because it's going to be very obvious how this bolts together. But that's what I'm going to do now. Let's see what it looks like after it's assembled. So there we go, job done. Very simple to assemble this. Does not get any easier with a plug and play model. Screws together in about 15 minutes. Just have to be careful what screw you use where. So the longest screw there on the left, you get 4 of those and a spare, and those go into the bolt the landing gear in place. The shorter silver bolt on the right is what you're using for most of, for everything else really, except for the black screw in the middle, which is what you use through the rudder to keep the tail wheel in place. That simple. So just showing you inside the fuselage, you can see how big it is in there, but you can see how I've tidied up the cables with zip ties just so it's nice and tidy. You can see my X8R receiver in there. One nice touch with this, because I presume the battery has to go quite far forward, is you have this sliding battery tray. So you slide it out to put your 6-cell battery. I'm going to be using 6-cell 6000 batteries, as that's what I've got. Use them in my EDF jets as well. Secure that in place, and then that just clicks forward in place like that. And then canopy goes on top. So yeah, really simple to put together. I think FMS are just amazing the way they design these models to be very quick assembly. And then you get down the model flying field and play with it. Now so I've set up my transmitter, my Radiomaster TX16S. Very simple to do. So you'll see here as I scroll across, so my basic inputs, I always go through the wizard, the setup wizard this first time, just to set up my inputs, which are AETR, aileron, elevator, throttle and rudder. It gives you the 4 inputs, and then I've added in rates, all are configured to be off this A switch.
Low rates, high rates,
and 30% exponential on each of those. And then moving across to mixes. I don't think there's anything I do here really on this model anyway. No landing gear, no flaps, and I use channel 7 on the SC switch for a 3-position switch for the modes on the reflex gyro stabilization system. Really simple to set up. So that done. Now let's get down the flying field and get this in the air for the first time. Here we are on a lovely November day. Sun is out, unusual the weather in the UK at the moment, and low wind as well, so lovely day to bring out the FMS Pitts for its first flight. I've got a Go2 Insta360 camera on board. Took the pilot out, just carved out the foam, put a ply plate in there to mount that on, a bit of Velcro, just to give that on board view. So let's get it in the air, let's see how it flies. No trim needed. As long as everything's neutral when you set it up mechanically. God, hardly any rudder input for knife edge. Go for a loop.
Looks very stable upside down.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful.
Touch and go.
All the bump and go.
That was a Ryanair touch and go, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, look at that.
Alright, think about landing.
Yep. Very nice.
Lovely.
How's that?
I like that. Really smooth, big, classic biplane. Doesn't get any better than that. That's the FMS Pitts biplane. Running it on a 6S 6000 pack can take the weight, and what I was flying for 6-7, probably push it to 8 minutes on that big pack, and it didn't really notice the weight. It probably needs the weight. So there you go. Thanks for watching. If you like our flight test, then please subscribe. If you do, click the bell icon for notifications. The link for this is in the video description and the pinned comment. Thanks to Jay on camera.
No problem.
And we'll be back soon for some more Essential RC. See you next time.